And if I told you that there is a simple technique that makes people trust you, follow your example, and create in your potential even before you have achieved any results? This is the secret that has turned unknown people into leaders and has led ordinary people to achieve extraordinary success. And you are about to learn to use it right now. If you want more powerful strategies such as this that will transform your trust, influence, and results, press the subscription button and activate the notification bell right now. Here you will learn proven techniques to highlight, achieve more, and live at your maximum potential. Today, we immerse ourselves in one of the most transformative principles of Dale Carnegie. It acts as if you had already won. Now, before you put your eyes blank and think about another motivational cliché, let me stop right there. It is not about empty positivity or vain illusions. It is a scientifically backed psychological strategy that literally reconfigures the way your brain processes challenges and how other people perceive and respond to you. Think of the last time you entered a room feeling completely sure of what you were about to do. Maybe it was a conversation that you knew you were going to dominate, a presentation that you had rehearsed 100 times, or a game in which you knew with certainty that you had the necessary skills to win. How did you behave? How did you talk? How did people react to you? That feeling, that presence, that energy you had at that time is what we talked about when we say acts as if you had already won. But this is where most people are completely wrong. They think that acting as if you had already won means being arrogant, conceited, or pretending to have achievements that you don't really have. That's not at all. What Carnegie discovered, and what modern psychology has confirmed, is that when you embody the mental and physical state of someone who has already achieved success, you actually increase your possibilities of achieving that success in reality. I will give you a specific example. Imagine two people entering a job interview. Person A is nervous, restless, with shrunken shoulders, speaks in a low voice, and constantly doubts their answers. Person B enters with their shoulders back, establishes visual contact, speaks with clarity and confidence, and answers the questions as if it is already part of the team that solves problems together. Both candidates have the same qualifications on paper. Who do you think will be hired? The difference is not alone in how they are presented. It is how its mental state affects each micro-decision they take during the interview. Person B, acting as if I had already won, asks better questions, gives more reflective answers, and demonstrates the type of mentality to solve problems that the employer wants to see. It is not pretending confidence, but is accessing a version of itself that already exists, but that normally remains hidden under layers of doubt and fear. This principle works thanks to something that psychologists call incorporated cognition. Your mind and body are connected in much deeper ways than most people believe. When you change your physical posture and mental structure, you literally change the chemistry of your brain. You increase testosterone, decrease cortisol, and active neuronal pathways associated with confidence and clear thinking. Amy Cuddy's research on power positions showed that the simple fact of standing in a trust position for 2 minutes can appreciably change your hormonal levels and improve your performance in situations of great stress. But the Carnegie principle goes beyond simple physical posture. It is about adopting the complete mentality of someone who has already overcome the challenge you are currently facing. Let's analyze how this translates into practice. First, there is the mental component. When you act as if you had already won, you stop addressing situations from a position of necessity or despair. Instead, you approach them from a value and contribution position. You do not think about what you can get from this situation, but what you can contribute to it. This change of perspective changes everything in your way of communicating. Instead of trying to prove your worth, you are simply yourself at your maximum level. Instead of looking for approval, you are created in creating value. Instead of fearing rejection, you feel curious to know how you can solve problems and improve things for everyone involved. The physical component is equally important. The winners move differently. They occupy the space properly. They maintain visual contact. His gestures are determined and controlled. His voice has a certain clarity, rhythm, and conviction. They do not precipitate when they trust that what they have to say deserves to be heard. But this is really fascinating. When you embody these physical and mental characteristics, others perceive it unconsciously. Human beings are incredibly sophisticated when interpreting the subtle social signals. We can detect trust, uncertainty, authenticity, and deception often in a matter of seconds after meeting someone. When genuinely embody the energy of someone who has already been successful, others naturally want to be close to that energy and be part of the success you are creating. Now let's talk about science that explains why this works so effectively. Your brain has something called a reticular activation system, which is essentially a filter that determines what information your conscious attention captures. When you act as if you had already won, you prepare your brain to notice opportunities, resources, and solutions that were always there, but that you could not see when you focused on the possible failure. This is not magical thinking. It's about training your attention and automatic answers. When you expect to succeed, you naturally begin to make the small decisions that lead to success. You talk at meetings because you have something valuable to contribute. Accept challenges because you see them as opportunities to demonstrate your abilities. You establish relationships because you see other people as possible collaborators instead of threats. The key is authenticity. You cannot limit yourself to pretending and waiting for it to work long term. You need to connect genuinely with the part of yourself that is able to achieve what you want to achieve. That part already exists within you. The goal is to access it constantly, especially in the most important moments. Here you have a practical exercise that you can try right now. Think of a specific objective or challenge that you are currently facing. Now imagine that, within 6 months, you look back and see this challenge as something you have exceeded successfully. From that future perspective, what advice would you give to your current self? How would you address the situation differently? What would you focus on? What would you stop worrying? That future version of yourself that has already won is not a fantasy. It is a potential reality that exists based on the decisions and actions that you can start taking today. Acting as if you had already won means aligning your current behavior with that successful future self. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this principle in action. There was a young seller who, despite having good knowledge of the product and technical skills, constantly obtained results below expected. The problem was not what I knew, but how it addressed each interaction. He went to meetings thinking about his fees, his commissions, and his need to sell. Potential clients could perceive this despair, and that made them feel uncomfortable. His boss suggested that he tried a different approach. Instead of focusing on what needed each meeting, he had to focus on how they could really help each potential client solve their problems. Instead of waiting for him to buy him, he had to act as if he were his trusted advisor, whom they had hired to provide expert guidance. The transformation was remarkable. When he stopped acting as someone who tried to sell and began to act as someone whose success was already consolidated, everything changed. His position improved, his questions became more insightful, his recommendations became more reflective, and his follow-up became more professional. In 3 months, he became the best seller of his team. The beautiful thing about this principle is that it creates a virtuous circle. The more you act as if you had already won, the more you really want, which reinforces the behavior and makes it seem more natural and authentic. Success is based on success, and everything begins with the decision to embody the energy and mentality of someone who has already achieved what you are trying to achieve. This does not mean that you become complacent or stop working hard. In fact, it usually means otherwise. When you act as if you had already won, you tend to demand more. You show yourself more constant, pay attention to details, and assume the responsibility of the results because you see yourself as someone who obtains results. Let's see how to apply this in different areas of your life. In the professional field, acting as if you had already won means contributing to meetings as if your ideas were important, assuming projects as if you were able to obtain excellent results, and interact with your classmates and clients as if you had already consolidated yourself as a competent and trustworthy person. In personal relationships, it means addressing conversations and interactions from trust in your own value and value. You are not trying to prove your worth or win the approval of others. You are simply being the best version of yourself and trusting that the right people will appreciate and correspond that energy. In creative activities, it means creating and sharing your work as if you were already an artist, writer, or consecrated interpreter. Do not wait until you feel prepared or until you think your work is perfect. You create and share from confidence in your unique perspective and voice. The most powerful part of this principle is how it affects your relationship with failure and setbacks. When you act as if you had already won, temporary failures become learning experiences instead of testing that you are not able to succeed. You keep the perspective because you act from the identity of someone who, ultimately, is successful, even when individual attempts do not work. This is crucial because the path to any significant success implies setbacks and challenges. The difference between people who finally succeed and those who surrender is not the absence of failures, but how they interpret and respond to them. Acting as if you had already won gives you the emotional and strategic thinking necessary to overcome the difficulties effectively. Here you have a 7-day action plan to start applying this principle immediately. Day 1. Identify 3 specific situations of your life where you normally feel insecure or anxious. They can be work presentations, social interactions, creative projects, or personal objectives. Give them and spend time visualize how you would handle each situation if you were absolutely sure of success. Day 2. Concentrate completely on your physical presence. Practice standing, sitting, and walking, as if you had full confidence in your skills. Note how different positions affect your mood and energy level. Find the positions that make you feel more powerful and determined naturally. Day 3. Work in your communication style. Give yourself talking about topics that are passionate about, and listen to the recording to detect signs of hesitation, filling words, or uncertain vocal patterns. Practice speaking as if you were sharing your experience instead of looking for approval. Day 4. Identify someone in your field or area of interest that embodies the success you want to achieve. Study how it behaves, how it communicates, and how it addresses the challenges. It is not about copying it, but to understand how trust and competition manifest in practice. Day 5. Practice the beginning in low-risk situations. Ask for a restaurant as if you were a regular customer. Ask questions in stores as if you were a valuable customer. Have a trivial conversation as if you were genuinely interested in connecting with people. Acquire the habit in situations where the result does not matter too much. 6th day. Apply the beginning to one of the difficult situations that you identified the first day. Affircle it with the mentality and energy of someone who has already achieved what you are trying to achieve. Pay attention to how this changes your preparation, your performance, and the answers of others. Day 7. Reflect on what you have learned and experienced. What has been natural to you? What has been forced? What results have you observed? Use these ideas to develop your own personalized approach to embody trust and success. Remember, it's not about becoming someone you are not. It's about constantly accessing the best version of who you are already. All the successful people you admire began being people with potential, just like you. The difference is that they learned to embody that potential before external circumstances confirmed it. The most successful people in any field share this common characteristic. They act with the confidence and competition of someone who belongs to the level they want to reach, long before that level really reach. They do not expect permissions or evidence. They give permission to show themselves as the person they are becoming. This principle works because success is not just about what you achieve, but who you become the process of achieving it. When you act as if you had already won, you accelerate your own development towards the person capable of winning consistently. Your future self, who has achieved your goals and overcome your current challenges, is not a different person from who you are now. It is you, with more experience, more skills, and more confidence. But the fundamental qualities that will allow you to achieve that future success already exist in you today. Acting as if you had already won is simply a way of accessing those qualities and expressing them constantly. The time to start is now. Not when you feel prepared, or when the circumstances are perfect, or when you have more credentials or experience. Right now, whatever the situation you face, you have the opportunity to embody the energy and mentality of someone who has already been successful. Take a time to imagine how different your life could be in 6 months if you started applying this principle today. Imagine entering situations with real confidence, facing the challenges with serenity and strategic thinking, building relationships from a place of mutual value and respect, and addressing your goals with the certainty that you will achieve them. That version of your life is not a fantasy. It is a choice. It is the choice to stop waiting external validation and start providing your own internal validation. It is the choice to stop acting as someone who could succeed and start acting as someone who already has everything necessary to succeed. This is your time. This is your opportunity to transform not only what you do, but who you are while you do it. It acts as if you had already won, because in the most important sense, you have already done it. You have everything you need inside you at this time. The only question is if you will choose to embody it. If this video has given you a new perspective on trust and success, be sure to give like and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And do not forget to subscribe and press the notification bell, because we just started this trip to release your maximum potential. Your future self has the decisions you make today. Get worth it.